What's going on, guys? I'm gonna go ahead and start the video out and say I apologize. This situation sucks, but I have the best way to get these things out of here. The whole freaking stupid ratchet strap bullshit doesn't work on the A-arm. That's stupid. It just doesn't fucking work. You can't crush a clip ring by slowly pushing that thing out of there, or even doing it quick. It has to be a blunt force pull. You have to push in and pull it out quick. As you can see, I have this side out, but the end of it's sheared off. So everybody says, get a magnet. Unfortunately, the clip broke off in there, and I can't see the clip, and I can't pry it around pry it out to get it to release there. I have an aftermarket halo locker diff. The whole diff and everything's different. So I took apart the driver's side. When shit starts to get bad, it only gets worse. What happens? It breaks off in the diff too. So I'm gonna show you two ways to get this stuff out of here. The first way is it comes out like that and you get it out right. The second way, you get a disc grinder, you put a cutting wheel on it, and you make a couple of cuts right here on these ridges, or whatever, as far in as you can get, really. You wanna have as much material on this side of the cup as you can. So you want to cut the holes in this thing with the disc grinder with your fancy new disc, and you want to get something, a really nice grade punch or a bolt or something that ain't going to bend, and you're going to put it through there, and then you're going to get a slide hammer, and I think that's like either a 10 or 15 pound slide hammer. I'd have to look once I open it up. I'm borrowing it from a friend. And you put your hook in there and you push in on everything, make sure it's good to go. You barely put pressure. You don't put any pressure on your punch, and you use that slide hammer and you beat the shit out of this thing and it'll pop out. Then you get your long punch and you punch that end cap out, or the splines that came off of this one. So I'll get you a light here, and I'll show you guys what's going on with the inner part there and show you that it's stuck in there too. So as you can see here, let me see if I can get this light up in here. That piece with that little dimple in the middle of it, all the way in there past these splines, that's the end of the axle there. I tried using a magnet. This part slides back and forth, I don't know, maybe an inch or two in and out, but it won't go out either way. You can't punch it out. If you break this axle off, you can't punch it out by going this way. You have to get on the other side and go that way, come towards me with it. So, as I said, I'm gonna cut a hole in the side of this cup here and put a punch or something through there that ain't gonna bend, and then I'm gonna get a slide hammer. You're just better off doing this. There's freaking bearings in these cups. I can't even believe how much they cost. So there's no sense in even getting a rebuild kit for that, because I think if you spend $20 more, you get the whole axle. So there's no sense in getting that rebuild kit for this thing, at least from what I found on, Partzilla or whatever. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut a hole in the cup there, and we'll move on. Okay, so before I get the rest of the way through the second cut, I'm just using this cutting wheel. I should probably use a grinding wheel because it's a wider, So I'm just kind of walking that back and forth. I'm cutting on this side. I'm not using a handle. I'm actually cutting right here. Guard protects the frame and everything else, and put it right in that notch. And I actually put vice grips on here because since everything's pretty much broken, the whole shaft's rotating. I lock it in and put it in 4-wheel drive. It still spins, which I think it's supposed to do that, but regardless. I have this A-arm just basically just tied up with a ratchet strap and that I broke. And clamp the vice grips down so when I grind, this thing doesn't rotate. I actually would suggest leaving your vice grips off and putting the grinder on there, and then when you make your cut, the thing will spin, and if you hold it steady, it'll leave a stripe the whole way around, and you can actually see where you need to cut, just so you're even, depth wise, so you know where to cut. But you just want to try to get it directly across from each other here, and put your holes in. I have the that side done right there. My dad's had this tool for years. I think it was a screwdriver at some point, but it's pretty strong, and I'm probably gonna just put this through there so I don't damage anything that's all that important. We use it for a punch usually, as you can see. So I'm gonna put that through there, and then it'll be halfway. Then I'm gonna hook the slide hammer hook on it. There's a slide hammer. I think it's a 15 or 20 pound slide hammer, so it's pretty tough. So we got it out with this one time on the passenger side, so we'll see how it goes. Okay, so as you can see, before I pull this thing out of here, I got my punch. It's just part way in there. I didn't feel like grinding the other hole any bigger because it kind of didn't fit, but it's on both sides. So got the slide hammer in, got the hook on it. The trick is to make sure you're kind of as parallel, or I guess in the same plane as, you know, horizontal as this axle coming out of the diff is. So that's what you're gonna try to do when you're jerking on it. I can't hold the phone and do it at the same time. That sounds really gay. So, all right, next cut will be that thing out and me pushing the sheared off piece out that way. I'll have you know, I'm doing everything I can to contain my excitement. So, there it is. Cut my 2 notches in the side of it, ran my, whatever you want to call it. See, I only had it part way and it bent. I ended up cutting that hole a little bit wider so I can get a better hook on it. So I tried this with a, I'll show you, a smaller hook, I guess is what I want to call it. If you have play, like, in this cup, like with that hook, it doesn't really work. You want to have it where, like, that thing just barely fit in there. I had to put the hook in first and hook it up in there, and then thread the rod on there, or the hammer. And that was a pain, but, like, it won't move that much in there. So, like, you want to have it as rigid as possible because there's nowhere else for this, like, internal forces to go when you're trying to pull that out of there. So now the objective is to hit that piece through, which I'm going to get this light and show you guys what I'm talking about, why it was an issue and why the side had to come apart. So the reason for that is that there is, see that rod in there? You can't put the sheared end is on the other side of that rod, so you really can't do anything to get it to come out this way. So you have to hit it back. It has to come out the side it went in on, is basically what I'm saying. So we're going to get a long thing. I'm probably just going to use that thing again if it's long enough for just a screwdriver or something, because I don't think it'll be that hard to get that piece out. But we're going to do that, hit that end out, and we should be good to go. I think the only thing you have to make sure of is this splines. Since that sheared end is splined, you want to try to make sure that the splines, I guess, are going to be lined up so it will actually hop out of there, because you aren't going to get it anywhere if the splines aren't lined up. Okay, so now that we have the driver's side axle out, you guys saw the giant pin in there. It's actually bigger than what I had anticipated. I thought I'd be able to get a flathead in there and deal with it, but it's the flathead, which is really not that big around, is too big. So I read online to use welding rods, and I stopped at my local fabrication shop and picked these up because they were just ones they had laying around or whatever. Said I could have them, and they suggested that I put, obviously it's wider than the diff, so they suggested putting that in and hitting it through. So we're gonna give that a shot. I've never dealt with a sheared off end before, so hopefully it works out. I'm gonna grab some lunch and then we'll get back. We made some headway here. Got some welding rods, and I tapped it up against to where the basically, can you guys see that piece right there? It hits flush. Them teeth on the inner spline need to line up with these teeth right here, right there. And I didn't have it perfect, and I hit it up against it, and I had it wedged just a tiny bit. I didn't hit it very hard as I would want to hit a welding rod, because it was kind of stuck, it seemed like. Anyway, it got stuck, so I was going to hit it back and rotate this carrier right here to where it would line up. And I saw the clip ring, so I started trying to pry that off of there, and I hit that thing real hard and quick right in the middle, and it separated that clip ring, and it stayed flush up against these splines right here, and the axle actually pushed back towards the middle. So I'm gonna reach in here with some needle nose. Sorry, I'm a little sick. It's not a warm garage. We're gonna pull this clip ring out right here. And then we're gonna get a magnet. Grab it, oh yeah. So here's your clip ring. I have my long magnet here. Hopefully I can get this rotated correctly to pull that out. Maybe. It's not that strong of a magnet, so it's kind of tough. But it's also tough to do this one-handed. Come on now. I would highly suggest getting a strong magnet for this because I think that's part of the issue here. Because I think I have it pretty close to lined up. But I'm gonna put the phone down and try to fool with this with 2 hands and see if I can't get it out of here. I think I got it. Yeah. So I didn't really have much luck besides what I told you guys in the previous shot here about the welding rod, but these holes are already in them. This is a factory Can-Am axle. Sorry, let me get this to focus better. So what I did was I took one of these basically and I pushed it in there and I tried to bend and hook it and do all kinds of weird stuff. And basically the trick, you really have to line your splines up. You really have to line your splines up right here. These guys with the ones inside the carrier, because if not, then it ain't coming out. But I basically stuck that in there and I could rotate it a little bit. And I just kind of tried to pull it and I could hear it actually sliding on the metal. So I pulled this as far as I could and then it came out and I grabbed my magnet here, and the magnet at that point was strong enough to just let it slide on those inner splines. So that's how you guys do it. It was a pain in the butt. Probably took me a total of 2 hours of actual work time, and you know, because I'm pretty much mastered disassembling the front end like this at this point with these stupid things, but the actual involvement with the diff or whatever, I'd say would probably be about 2 hours. So I appreciate you guys watching. I hope it helped. Drop some questions in the comments if you guys have any questions. Like I said, it's a Halo locker. I think the case is the same as factory. Everything should work out for you guys. I hope none of this ever happens to you, and I hope it always comes out. But I will say this, there's some guy out there that sells a slide hammer tool that basically, I'll get my cup here. You know how you have a ring right here on the edge, right there. That guy, that ring, there's a clip ring in there that holds your ball bearings and everything in there. Basically his tool, so I'm trying to get you guys to visualize here. It's a threaded sleeve and it's hexagonal or whatever, and it has threads inside it. And then at the ends of it, what threads in there, the bolts, at the ends of it, there's like, they're sharp at the end. You spin this and it opens up inside there, and you spin it tight and you get it as tight as you can with your fingers in the bike. And then you get a slide hammer, which is part of his tool here. It threads into that collar piece somehow, and you basically use it exactly how I did that. Now, I tried to buy this tool off of this guy, and I never heard anything from him. I heard from people that have bought it from him previously. I private messaged him. I've messaged other people, see if I could borrow theirs. But it pissed me off enough that you're better off getting one of these freaking things if you don't already have one, which I'm pretty sure everybody has a grinder, and then just get one of these, because I mean, I really had to reef on it with that to get it out of there. I don't know how well his tool works. I've seen it on the internet, and I'm sure you guys have seen it too, but it's just irritating that, you know, he never got back to me or whatever to get that freaking tool. But I think you'll be in it for less if you just already have one of these, and then you can get a slide hammer like that from Harbor Freight or something. So I hope this video helps out. Hope you guys get your axles out. I appreciate you watching. Thank you.